Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of 10 weeks for the Tessy retreat, where we have seminars on mindfulness and everything about it. I'm really happy that so many of you have tuned in last week. So many of you are tuning in today, live, but also later. As usual, people will pop in and pop out and look at it on YouTube. Last week, I logged with all of your help, with everyone attending, because one person is 1 hour for me, plus the follow-ups and all of the questioning I got. I did 131 hours. Isn't that insane? So thank you so much. And I learned so much and I felt so energized. I don't know about you guys, but I went off the call last week and I was just like, I really like this. These people are great. I'm learning so much and it's so much fun, actually. I said to my husband, this is really fun. So I hope you all had fun as well. House rules, please mute your computers if you're not speaking. If you want to say something, put it in the chat section below or raise your hand, interrupt me during my presentation, whatever, because this is an interactive seminar as usual, and I want you to be involved as much as possible. I am learning from you as much as you're learning from me. We're all beginners here, and this is fantastic. And so, yeah, welcome. And I hope you all had a fantastic week. So this week, we're going to talk about loving kindness, what that means, what loving kindness is in your environment. We're going to do an exercise as usual, and we're having a beautiful guided meditation at the end. How did your last week go, guys? Could you translate a little bit of what you have learned into your daily lives? Did you use the spreadsheet, the homework sheet, and did the exercise just to remind yourself a bit mindfully of what you have done during the day? Like what did you eat? Who was nice to you? Memorable events? Did you have a good experience with that? Does anyone want to share?
Happy to share. Oh, yeah. Anita, you put your hand up. I just rudely unmuted. Why don't you go, Anita?
I'm in sunny Devon at the moment. So I left work and I came down here on Sunday, and I had to make a decision not to be in touch with work. So I haven't been on any social media, no LinkedIn, no whatever. Just a daughter who is waiting for her baby, and take my grandson to school, walk up to the canal, down to school, back, sat down with daughter, had breakfast, watched him Downton Abbey, had tea, but to enjoy time with her, when normally our lives, I've been a parent, and now she's going to be a parent again. So I think I sat back and I thought, this is just gorgeous. And every moment I savoured. And we had the best day today. I took her swimming, so some weightlessness. We'd had lovely tea, sat in the sunshine, and it's just, so this is the first thing I have done that's outside of the family. Every moment is precious.
It really is.
It's wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's beautiful. Makes me dream. I really got a nice visual as well. Also because I have just been pregnant. I can imagine the relief for your daughter floating in the water a little bit by just being a few days before giving birth. So very, very lovely. Thank you, Maggie.
So I did do the exercise every single day as promised. And it was so interesting because the remembering what you ate bit is very easy. So I did it the first time, forgot. But then, second day onwards, you always remember what you ate. That's the easy part. But the who did you connect with? Slightly harder, but you can always look back at your diary and, they're there. The who was kind for you, who was kind to you was more difficult. And who were you kind to? Very difficult to remember because attention to, other people talking to you and very little on your own actions. So I'm really glad like this week we're doing loving kindness because I always put a question mark under the who are you kind to today. And then the what did you learn was surprisingly difficult as well, even though I know I probably learned something. it didn't translate the next day. So yeah, that was a really interesting exercise. I might continue doing it for a couple of weeks and see how I get on.
Well, you can do it every day. It's almost like journaling. So just go for it, you know, there's no timeline on that. So please just go ahead and then actually see, you know, how much more you become aware of your day. So yeah, I would do it, you know, it takes 90 days. Hi, Rural. I think he's in. Let me just mute him until he's, there you go, until he's available. So we have as well Jill, who said that she did the meditation in the shower. So when you shower, that you just imagine really cleaning yourself from all of that clutter, you know, that everything that is just not serving you anymore, that you kind of like washing it away, that you have a visual meditation while taking a shower. So Jill, do you want to share? How was that for you?
Yeah, sure. Because until now, I always did meditation lying down. And last time when you said that you always fall asleep when you do that, it's the same for me. After 5 minutes, I'm gone. So the meditation doesn't really serve. So I didn't know that there were guided shower meditations that existed. So I just put my phone there and I did it. And it felt so great because we have this big rain shower on, you know, on top, and I never use it because when I shower, it has to be quick. And especially with 2 little ones, you cannot spend 10 minutes in the shower. And now that my husband is back home, I really enjoyed it. And it just felt so good. Just actually feel the water on your skin. And yeah, I really, really liked it.
That is really nice. Thank you for sharing. Yes, and you can just Google shower meditation and there's guided shower meditations, guys.
The first one I found wasn't my thing. It was too spiritual. And then I found another one which was perfectly fine.
Exactly. You need to really find the one that works for you. Also the voice, you know, some voices for me are so annoying. So I'm like, go away. And then, you know, it's just, you need to connect because you're also connecting to these people, right? So, and they're connecting to you in some way or another when you do the meditation. So it needs to work for you, but there's millions of them out there. So just look what works for you. And if you want, share them with me, the ones that you really like, and I share them with the group in the next email for the next week. And we can then kind of start to create a library if you want. And then I collect them over the weeks and share them every week. But then at the end, I can share a big library with all of you again. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. What do you think? Perfect. So we have in the chat section, then we need to get started. Ipti, last session put me back meditating again, 15 minutes every morning. And yesterday, a very long and restorative one by the sea. That sounds amazing. And it is true, you know, I as well. I started meditating a bit more now again. And I was anxious at first, to be honest, just because I opened up these floodgates as we talked about last week, right? Because I started to feel myself again a bit because I have been a bit stressed. I had a bit of a health problems with my baby. He had actually a biopsy. He had a mold on his leg, and that came back with bad cells. So I had a really rough week, but he's fine, and we are staying positive, and we hope that it's gonna be all fine. But yeah, you know, and so for me, it was really important to just, you know, stay positive because the other kids are here too, and you know, and just, you know, trying to have a good family moment, and you know, we're in Luxembourg now, and so that's very nice. So for me, it helped me a lot as well. We have, yes, I struggled with what did you learn to on some days. Yes, that okay, I understand. And you will get in the mood, you know, you will get in it's kind of like the saying, Rome wasn't built in one day, right? Resilience and also getting to know yourself within you takes a long time because, believe it or not, sometimes we disconnect with our own selves for days, months, years at a time, right? Some people are disconnected for a long time, and it takes time to get to know you again. You know, it's exciting because at some point you're just like, I didn't know I could feel like that again. And you will see today with the loving kindness meditation, because it's all about just loving yourself and loving yourself differently, more consciously and more in depth. Rod, I was having a very stressful moment yesterday, and I remembered the very useful tip Tessy mentioned in the passing last time, the 2-minute breathing meditation that can be found on smartwatches. Exactly. It was terrifically helpful in getting me from red traffic light to green light. It is true. It's just the little things, you know, a little brain break, that on the watch where you really, it breathes with you. You feel the vibration when you breathe in and out, you know, as easy as that. Or you can even also go on YouTube and do 2 minutes breathing meditation. And there's things like that as well with gongs and other sounds. Alexa does some cool guided meditations, just a few minutes. I didn't know that, Anita. That's good to know. Toke, Calm, and Aura have some great ones. Calm has really, really good ones. And also what I would suggest to you, if you can, it's a bit expensive. I think it's 200 euro. But for me, it really helps me a lot. It's called Muse Headband, M-U-S-E Headband. And they have amazing meditations. And what I like with it, especially as a beginner, do you have direct feedback when you are in an alpha state, when you are actually connected, you hear birds. So you kind of like have direct feedback. As soon as you get distracted, whatever background sound, is it the sea, the forest, the park, it becomes louder. And so you really consciously need to calm down your brain with your breathing. And it's an extremely well direct feedback loop for a meditation practice. So check it out. Yeah, Muse and then Headband, not together, just Muse and then Headband. If you Google that, you see it, and there's an app that goes with it, and it's quite amazing. So should we get started with this week? What do you think? Thank you so much, Rod. She has shared a link in the chat section, so you can check it out. It's choosemuse.com. Voila. So let me get started with my little thing here. Me and electronics is not always a good thing. So I'm going to do share screen again. Oops. Hi, Cornelia. I see you. There you go. And here we go. Wait, this here.
Hi, Tessy.
Hi, Angel. Here we go. Hello. What is this doing now? Back to editing. I'm getting there, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. Because I don't want to record it. I just want to present it. Here we go. Present. Present. Here we go. Ta-da! Can everyone see it? Yes? Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes, we can. We can.
Thank you. So,
Yes.
so the text we're using, because I also need to credit where I found these, is I got the first text from Learn Religion. They have a lot about different religious practices, Buddhism, and there I found really nice definitions about loving kindness and so on. So I used that. And then after, for the guided meditation, I literally took it from an article by John Kabat-Zinn, because I really like this one. It's this loving kindness meditation. Well, it's for radical acts of love. So just to credit where credit is due. And yeah, if you're ready, we get started. So what is loving kindness? Loving kindness is defined in the English dictionary as a feeling of benevolent affection. But in Buddhism, loving kindness, in Pali, metta, in Sanskrit, maitri, as they say, it's thought as a mental state of attitude cultivated and maintained by practice. This cultivation of loving kindness is an essential part of Buddhism. The Theravadin scholar, I hope I pronounced that right, Acharya Buddharakkhita said of metta, the Pali word metta is a multi-significant term meaning loving kindness, friendliness, goodwill, benevolence, fellowship, amity, concord, inoffensiveness, and non-violence. The Pali commentators define metta as the strong wish for the welfare and happiness of others. True metta is devoid of self-interest. It evokes within a warm-hearted feeling of fellowship, sympathy, and love, which grows boundless with practice and overcomes all social, religious, racial, political, and economic barriers. Metta is indeed a universal, unselfish, and all-embracing love. Metta often, we're going to get to this one in a second. Oops. Metta often is paired with karuna, compassion. They are not exactly the same, although the difference is subtle. The classic explanation is that metta is a wish for all beginnings to be happy, and karuna is a wish for all beings to be free from suffering. Wish is probably not the right word, actually, as he quoted, say directing the one's attention or concern to be happiness or suffering of others. Developing loving kindness is essential to doing away with the self-clinging that binds us to suffering, also called the dukkha. Metta is the antidote to selfishness, as we said, anger and fear. Don't compare metta with the Facebook metta, just saying that, because when I read that to my son before, he was like, oh, Facebook? I'm like, no, not Facebook. So don't be nice. Why am I saying that? One of the biggest misunderstandings people have about Buddhists is that Buddhists are always supposed to be nice, but usually niceness is only a social convention. Being nice often is about self-preservation and maintaining a sense of belonging in a group. We are nice because we want people to like us, right? Or at least not get angry with us. There's nothing wrong with being nice most of the time, but it's not the same thing as loving kindness. Remember, metta is concerned with the genuine happiness of others. Sometimes when people are behaving badly, the last thing they need for their own happiness is someone politely enabling their destructive behavior. Sometimes people need to be told things they don't want to hear. Sometimes they need to be shown that what they are doing is not okay. And I think that is really important because, you know, I have read as well several times that if you are too kind, too much kindness brings disrespect. And I have seen it myself. I don't know about you guys, but the more I give, the more people think it's normal that I make so much time for people, that I write people, that people think they have all access to me. So I myself as well sometimes need to be reminded that being overly compensating kind is also not the solution. So as they say, anything too much is not healthy. That goes with, you know, too much carbs is not healthy, but it's good that you eat carbs. Too much sugar is not healthy, but it is also good to eat some sugar sometimes, you know, protein, exercise. It goes with all kinds of things, right? So just keep it in the parameters that work for you, where you feel respected, loved, and respected. So cultivating metta then. What I really liked about this article, he really brings us on a journey as well through the different definitions. And cultivating metta, I think, is a really good one. So he says, His Holiness the Dalai Lama is supposed to have said, "This is my simple religion. There is no need for temples, no need for complicated philosophy. Our own brain, our own heart is our temple. The philosophy is kindness." Would you agree? That's great, but remember that we're talking about a guy who gets up at 3:30 a.m. I really, when I read that, I thought it was so funny because he's so right, because I was thinking that too, you know, they're living another life. I don't wake up at 3:30. I am not a morning person. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to wake up if I don't need to. So they are, you know, Dalai Lama and Buddhists, they wake up at 3:30 a.m. to make time for meditation and prayer before breakfast. Simple isn't necessarily easy, right? Sometimes people new to Buddhism will hear about loving kindness and think, no sweat, I can do that. And they wrap themselves in the persona of a loving, kind person and go out about being very, very nice, right? This lasts until the first encounter with a rude driver or surely store clerk. As long as your practice is about you being a nice person, you are just plain acting. This may seem paradoxical, but unselfishness begins by gaining insight into yourself and understanding the source of your ill will, irritations, and insensitivity. This takes us to the basics of Buddhism practice, beginning with the Four Noble Truths and the practice of the Eightfold Path. That is also something I mentioned before, right? As he is telling us that, if you're just being nice and think that, by being nice to other people all the time, and when you meditate, that everything needs to be perfect and it's all in line and there's no problems, you're not really listening to what you need to hear. And, as I said to you before, when I meditated the last few days, I became very anxious because connecting to myself was really about starting to feel myself. So I don't know about you guys, and if you want later, before we start the exercises, if you want to share some of your experiences after starting to meditate again, like Ipti maybe, as you have done it every day for 15 minutes, I'm sure there have also been some unpleasant irritations that came up. And that is important because you are uncluttering your brain, you're uncluttering your whole energy body of all of that stuff you don't need anymore, right? The sensations, memories, just processing what is happening. And that is really important. So don't push it away. The metta meditation. The Buddha's best known teaching on metta is in the Metta Sutta, a sermon in the Sutta Pitaka. Scholars say the sutta or sutra presents 3 ways to practice metta. The first is applying metta to day-to-day conduct. The second is metta meditation. The third is a commitment to embody metta with full body and mind. The third practice grows from the first 2. The several scholars of Buddhism have developed several approaches to metta meditation, often involving visualization or recitation. That as well goes with, for example, the shower meditation, right? This could also be seen as a metta meditation because you kind of you're visualizing all of the clutter just being flushed away, right? A common practice is to begin by offering metta to oneself, as I mentioned before. Then, over a period of time, metta is offered to someone in trouble, then to a loved one, and so on, processing to someone you don't know well, to someone you dislike, and eventually to all beings. Why begin with yourself? Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg said, to reteach a thing is lovingness, is the nature of metta. Through loving kindness, everyone and everything can flower again from within. Because so many of us struggle with doubts and self-loathing. We must not leave ourselves out. Flower from within for yourself and for everyone. Any questions so far before we go to how to be extra kind to other people? No, perfect. Then we continue. Oops. So how to be extra kind with loved ones. I just picked up some on these on Google because I thought it's nice because a lot of people ask me, well, how do you even start, right? So how to be extra kind with loved ones is surprise them with an unexpected visit or call. Now, for example, there's a Luxembourger MP politician here who asked me for his support. He wants to send letters from all over the world in English to English, French, German, Luxembourgish, whatever language, to elderly homes here in Luxembourg, because the elderly have been left behind in a lot of ways and they have felt isolated. And he, with his grandfather being 103, wants to change it. And I think this goes with how to be extra kind with loved ones, but also with people you don't know. I think it's a really nice way of doing it. Just an unexpected visit or phone call, or just write a letter. I have an organization as well in London that I support with women of domestic violence, where you can send letters to them of encouragement that they are not alone. If you want to have information on that, let me know and I will share the link with you. It's really nice. You don't need to say your name, but you just become a pen friend with someone who has a really rough time. Give them a big hug. I went today to the Montessori school with my children where they were teaching about how to make smoothies, and we were singing with them and playing football with them. And at the end, I got a huge hug from 50 children. It was amazing. And it makes you feel good because when you connect to someone in the evening, also with animals, it works, cats, dogs, but with humans, if you can, If you hug someone, it's just really wonderful because it decreases a lot of anxiety. Feeling each other's heartbeat and warmth and the breathing, you adjust straight away to someone else's breathing and it calms you down. Express your empathy. Often the greatest gift we can, someone else is the gift of empathy, right? Hey, I'm here for you. I'm listening. You know, what do you need? What can I do? Give them a handwritten card or letter, as I mentioned before. Babysit for free. You know, new moms, as Anita said, you know, she's now there with her daughter who is giving birth to their second child. But then, you know, maybe you know someone who is really overwhelmed right now, who has kids and they're all home for summer holiday. You know, just pay them a visit. Take the kids. I do that a lot with friends, even though I have 4 kids. Sometimes I just say, hey, send your kids over for the weekend. And, you know, you just have a good time with your husband. And I think that's always very nice, no? Make them a meal. Cook for people. As they say, love goes through the stomach. We say that in Luxembourg. So I don't know about you guys, but it works. Go visit your parents if you can. If your parents are still alive, and if you can, some people have fights with their parents. Some people don't talk to their parents anymore. But, you know, you just have one pair and try to go and see them if you can, or your grandparents, because they will not be there forever. What are the loving kindness phrases, for example, when you talk to yourself? One thing, when I met my husband, Frank, at the beginning, he was quite a broken man. And I'm allowed to say that, he knows that, because he went also through a divorce and was really complicated. And when I met him, he would always crouch with his back. He was never, you know, when you crouch with your back or when you put your shoulders up, as you all know probably, or some people have told you, or probably the osteopath or the chiropractor or anyone, the massage therapist tells you, you know, you're too tense, right? And he was very tense. So what we started doing at the beginning, we started sitting in front of the mirror in the morning, and I would encourage you to do that just as a practice, to get to see yourself for 2 minutes a day, and it will look ridiculous and you feel stupid about yourself and embarrassed, you know. If you can do it naked, even better. That sounds completely crazy, but it is really amazing that you go in front of a mirror, you just look at yourself, start looking at yourself for 2-3 minutes. Just look at yourself. You start maybe laughing, whatever it is, just look at yourself, your body, and you will start to create a connection again. What we then did is we start saying phrases such as, may I be happy. I am a happy person. I am peaceful. I am well. I am healthy. I feel deep joy. I am so grateful for my legs for carrying me. I said that a lot because of my burnout. I couldn't walk properly anymore or swallow. And so for me, it was really important that I acknowledge that with my body. Thank you so much for being there, right? Some people are not able to walk. Some people have other disabilities. And I think sometimes you just need to sit down and be grateful for what you experience with your own body and for having everything that you're having, right? Your ears, your eyes, your mouth, your throat, your structure, your stability, your legs, your fingers, your feet, your back, you know, no pain, whatever it is. Just be grateful. Just try to acknowledge that, because, you know, I forget all the time. I am so sorry. My network just slipped off and here I am again. I am so sorry. I hope you can still see. Perfect. Recording in progress is amazing. Here we go. Let me just put up the presentation again. Yeah, I'm at my parents' and I have 3 very Wi-Fi thirsty teenagers sitting upstairs on their computer. So I think they're sucking out all of the bandwidth. So I have problems here with mine. I just connected to my phone. I have 5G, so let's see if that works better. But yeah, that was interesting now. Here we go. Let me see if I can pull this up, my presentation, or if it is lost now. No, here it is. There we go. And we were at this slide. Perfect. Let me share my screen again. I'm so sorry about that. Here we go. So, And then here we go. There we go. Plop. So can you see everything? Yeah? Perfect. Thank you, Anita. Okay. So as I said before, what are the phrases? Try the mirror example. You will look at it, at yourself. Like at the beginning, I felt embarrassed, looking at my naked body in front of a mirror by myself. I felt ridiculous. It really was. But then I was really I was looking at my breasts. I was looking at my stomach. I was looking at my legs. I was looking at my eyes, realized that actually they're not symmetric at all. This one is a bit smaller than this one, but I was just starting to look at myself. And then I started laughing. And I looked, this is how I look when I actually laugh. And it was just all of these experiences. And I was doing it for 2 weeks every day for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is a long time to look at yourself naked. But it was just, Anita is laughing. It is quite an exercise of trust with yourself. But hey, if you really want to get to know yourself, get to know yourself as you are right now, as an adult. When was the last time you actually took time to just look at yourself the way you are right now? How you have grown, how you have changed, these little wrinkles that have come up, the gray hair you got. I certainly got gray hair after my hair fell out after giving birth, and they came back and they were gray. So I was like, thank you, Theodore. I love you. Thank you for these beautiful gray hair. Fantastic. But, it's just all of these experiences. And, the mirror example was amazing. So please do it. And you can write me about your experience, or you can share it next week if you want. Just do it. I really think you're going to have a blast. It's going to be ridiculous, but it's ridiculous because you're not in use of it. And after you just, it's a really nice experience. You're going to fall in love with your own body. That is where you will get. So try it. So we have then a beautiful quote, which goes slowly into the meditation, right? Oops, let me just move this here. Oops. So formal loving kindness practice can function to soften one's relationship to overwhelmingly afflictive mind states so that we can avoid succumbing completely to the energies. It makes them more approachable and it makes them less interactable. What do I mean with that? So I go now over to a radical act of love meditation. I thought we do this first, and then we go to the exercise and to the wrap up of week 2 for week 3. But it's quite a long one. It says 47 minutes, but I will read it faster. When we start, we have still a few minutes. I still need to explain to you some things, and then we can turn off the cameras again. But just see what you feel and what you think. Oops. Oh, yes. Practice time. Thought I put it with a little smiley. So this loving kindness meditation is a radical act of love. Are you ready to radically fall in love with yourself? Yes. It's by John Kabat-Zinn, which leads us in a heartscape meditation for deep healing of ourselves and others. So by John Kabat-Zinn. It was published March 18, 2021. It's a guided meditation that I will be reading to you. Before that, I will explain to you what he has to say about it. As the pace of our lives continues to accelerate, driven by a host of forces seemingly beyond our control, more and more of us are finding ourselves drawn to engage in meditation, right? We're trying to find a way to cope with what is happening. In this radical act of being. We are moving in the direction of meditative awareness for many reasons, not the least of which may be to maintain our individual and collective sanity, or recover our perspective and sense of meaning, or simply to deal with the outrageous stress and insecurity of this age. By stopping and intentionally falling awake to how things are in this moment, purposefully without succumbing to our own reactions and judgments, and by working wisely with such occurrence with a healthy dose of self-compassion when we do succumb, and by our willingness to take up residency for a time in the present moment, in spite of all of our plans and activities, aimed at getting somewhere else, completing a project, or pursuing desired objectives or goals, we discover that such an act is both immensely discouragingly difficult, as we said before, right? It is difficult to check in with you, and yet utterly simple, profound, hugely possible after all, and as Ipti says, restorative of mind and body, soul and spirit, right in that moment. It is indeed a radical act of love, just to sit down and be quiet for a time by yourself. As I already said before, formal loving kindness practice can function to soften one's relationship to overwhelmingly afflictive mind states so that we can avoid succumbing completely to the energies. It makes them more approachable and it makes them less intractable. Loving kindness, passion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity are rigorous meditation practices used for the most part to cultivate one-pointed, concentrated attention, out of which the powers of these evoked qualities emerge, transfiguring the heart. Just naming these qualities of heart explicitly and making their role explicit in our practice may help us to recognize them when they arise spontaneously during mindfulness practice, as well as to incline the heart and mind in that direction more frequently, especially in difficult times. Let me check the chat quickly. Yes, exactly, guys. These practices, in particular loving kindness, can often serve very practically as a necessary and skillful antidote to mind stages such as ferocious rage. I certainly can get really angry sometimes. You know, I'm half Italian, it's just in my blood, which may at the time of their arising be simply too strong to attend to via direction observation unless one's practice is very developed. So I had a few days ago, I was really angry because I'm a logistical crazy. I like logistics, right? With so many kids and so many companies and charities and everything that I'm doing in my life, I need logistics more than anything because otherwise it all falls apart. And if a few things don't work out, and it's not the first thing that doesn't work out that drives me crazy, but if a few things don't work out, I get really angry. So one morning I was really not in the mood. Theodor was not very in a good mood. And Gabriel, what an angel he is. He was just like, Mama, let me feed Theodor. You know, and he's a teenager, 16 and a half. It was 9 a.m. that he was even awake was a miracle. And yeah, he just said, Mama, you go and take 10. I will give him the food. And I was like, are you sure? Because Theodor normally doesn't eat with anyone else than with me. I was like, okay. So as I go, I was meditating. I actually Googled guided meditation against anger. And I was just breathing it out. And as I come back, Theodor is happy as a hippo, eating his Bircher muesli. Gabriel happy, we put on music, and they were just having a really good time. And I was like, oh, this is great. Maybe I should do that more often, right? And just relax. Because even if things don't turn out perfectly, when something doesn't turn out the way you want, maybe it was not meant to be. Because if it would have turned out the way I wanted it, I would have not experienced to see this beautiful bonding between two brothers. And they had a great time. And since then, Gabriel feels really comfortable to give Theodor some food, and I can have little brain breaks for myself. How amazing is that, right? So everything is meant to be, isn't it? So, where was I? Which may at the time of their rising be simply too strong to attend to via direction observation unless one's practice is very developed, right? At such times, formal loving kindness practice can function to soften one's relationship to such overly afflicted mind states, as I said before. But with practice, direct observation itself on its own becomes the embodiment of loving kindness and compassion all by itself, and it's capable of embracing any mind state, however afflictive or toxic. And in the seeing of it and the knowing of it, in open-hearted, non-reactive, non-judgmental pressure, we can see into the nature of the anger or grief for whatever it is. And in the seeing, in the embracing of it, in the knowing of it, as we have seen it, it attenuates, weakens, evaporates, very much like touching a soap bubble or like writing on water. Isn't that a beautiful phrase? So nice. What emerges in such moments is nothing less than loving kindness itself, arising naturally from extended silence without any invitation, because it's never not already here. Oh, I love it. I got actually goosebumps. I think it's really nice how we put it, and also a really beautiful visualization that, you know, as that moment of anger that I experience, and I'm sure you have as well during the day or whenever, you know, we're just humans and we all have these moments. If you just take a moment to breathe and really actually just to reconnect to yourself, because if you get angry or you have fear, it's actually something that has happened in the past or some experience that gives you this reaction, right? And if you just connect to just loving yourself and just acknowledge the moment, and yes, you're safe, you're healthy, you're happy, you have everything you need, physically need as a human being,